When was the last time you said exactly what you felt without holding back, without filtering, without trying to sound right? Can you even remember? Somewhere along the way, we traded that raw version of ourselves for masks we show to the world. But here's the real question. How did this happen? And is it too late to find that person again? The unfiltered joy of childhood. Think back to when you were a kid. I mean, really think about it. The kind of pure, messy version of yourself that didn't care what anyone thought. You laughed so hard your stomach hurt. You asked loud, awkward questions, and you said exactly what came to mind, no matter how strange or silly it sounded. Maybe you twirled around in a grocery store aisle, pretending to be a superhero or sang at the top of your lungs in public just because it felt good. That version of you never paused to evaluate, is this appropriate? Or what will people think if I do this? It wasn't because you were brave, it's because you didn't even know you were supposed to ask those questions. But something happens, doesn't it? It's subtle at first. A quiet voice from somewhere, maybe your parents, maybe a teacher, tells you to calm down, to stop acting wild. You're told to say thank you, whether you mean it or not. If you asked someone why their face looked funny or announced to the dinner table that you didn't like Aunt Carol's cooking, someone probably stepped in, embarrassed, and whispered, "That's rude. Don't say that." It wasn't hostile. It wasn't designed to harm you. It was framed as helping you learn better manners, teaching you how to behave, how to fit in. These moments start stacking up before you've even realized it. Maybe the first time someone said, "Stop crying." It's not a big deal. You felt a little confused but stopped anyway. The first time they scolded you for being too loud in a public place, you tried to shrink yourself. And when they told you, "Don't ask that question, it's personal," you hesitated the next time you were curious about something that didn't make sense to you. Even the most innocent rules, like don't interrupt adults or smile when someone greets you, sent little signals. They told you, how you naturally are isn't always enough. This isn't to say those rules aren't valuable. After all, there's a reason social norms exist. They keep family dinners from becoming literal food fights. They help us avoid insulting strangers or alienating our peers completely. But as kids, we don't usually learn these lessons alongside an explanation of why. Instead, we just hear, "Don't do that." And over time, we start internalizing the message that there's something wrong with our raw, unfiltered selves. Psychologists call this social conditioning. According to research, children as young as 4 years old begin to adjust their behavior based on how others perceive them. Even the infamous marshmallow test, which you may have heard of, doesn't just measure self-control, it also reflects how early we start thinking about how our actions affect what people expect from us. It's in this fertile ground, where we're still figuring out who we are, that the seeds of self-doubt begin to grow. You don't even realize it's happening. Think about the first time someone said to you, "That's not appropriate." There was probably no dramatic fallout, no giant shift in your life, but didn't it make you pause? Didn't it plant a little question mark in your mind the next time you wanted to express something? A moment of hesitation you hadn't had before? And here's the thing, this isn't just about a few isolated moments. These don't stay small. As we'll see later, they start piling up. They form habits, patterns you don't even notice. That's where it starts getting complicated. But even now, you probably remember a moment, even if it's buried deep in your memory, when you stopped yourself mid-action or swallowed your honest reaction because something told you, "Not now." These lessons, these small corrections, were never meant to hurt you. They were supposed to turn you into a polished, functioning person. But in smoothing out the rough edges, they also taught you to look over your shoulder at everything you do, to question who you are before you've even had the chance to express it. They helped you fit in, sure, but they also mark the beginning of your masks. The masks we build as we grow. Can you actually remember the moment it happened, the exact time you stopped saying what you really thought or showing what you really felt? Most of us can't. That's the tricky part. It's not some grand turning point. It's gradual, so gradual, it feels like it was always part of you. We slip into the habit of performing so seamlessly that after a while, it starts to feel like second nature. But make no mistake, it's a habit, and it starts with the masks we put on to navigate life. Think about it. You're in a conversation at work and someone shares an idea you don't agree with. You nod anyway, not because you like the idea, but because it's easier to avoid conflict. Or maybe a friend drags you to a movie you secretly hated, but you tell them, "Yeah, I liked it," because you don't want to seem ungrateful. These are the small, everyday acts of self-censorship. Alone, they don't seem like much, but over time, they accumulate, and as they pile up, something insidious happens. The version of you that you present to the world becomes slightly different from the version of you that exists inside. At first, the gap is small, but it grows. If childhood plants the seeds of the shift, the teenage years are where it really comes to bloom. Adolescence brings this overwhelming pressure, like the invisible weight of 100 eyes judging your every move. Back then, the stakes feel impossibly high. Wearing the wrong clothes to school, social suicide, admitting you like a hobby that's not cool. Forget it. Teens become master chameleons, blending in, keeping their heads down, doing whatever it takes to fit the mold of what's acceptable. Maybe you stopped bringing up your favorite book because your friends teased you for it. Maybe you forced a laugh at jokes you didn't find funny, just to feel part of the group. These are the years when pretending starts to feel like survival. Now, throw social media into the mix. If in-person performance wasn't enough, suddenly your persona extends to a digital stage too. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook don't just encourage curated versions of ourselves, they practically demand them. We filter out what's too messy, too dull, too real. You post a picture, but not before tweaking the angle, adjusting the lighting, or waiting for just the right caption to strike the balance between clever and approachable. Even the smallest moment, like sharing an update about your life, gets edited, polished, and presented like a theater production. And what's the result? Comparison. Endless, relentless comparison. You're not just watching others' highlight reels, you're competing with them. Over time, that competitive loop doesn't inspire you, it drains you. Psychologists have explored the toll this process takes, and the findings are sobering. Living like this, half in performance mode, half as your real self, fuels anxiety, loneliness, and a pervasive fear of being found out. There's even a name for it, imposter syndrome. It's the silent voice that whispers, if people knew the real you, they wouldn't like you. So you double down, reinforcing the mask. After all, the mask keeps you safe, right? Well, yes and no. Because while these masks can protect us, helping us dodge criticism or rejection, they come at a price. Imagine trying to breathe through layers and layers of fabric wrapped tightly around your face. The protection is there, but so is the suffocation. What starts as a shield eventually becomes a prison, trapping whatever unedited version of you is left somewhere inside. The longer you wear it, the more difficult it becomes to take off. Not impossible, but difficult. So where does that leave us? If these masks are so deeply ingrained, if this performative version of ourselves feels permanent, does that mean we're trapped in them forever? Not necessarily, but understanding how they became part of us is the first step in figuring out if or how we can remove them. Because as much as they can protect, they've also cost us something truly irreplaceable, our connection to who we really are. And yet, within that, there's still hope. We just need to ask, how do we start unmasking ourselves? Reclaiming what was lost. What if I told you that authenticity isn't something you lose forever? It's not a one-way street. Sure, it can feel buried under years of conditioned behavior, but here's the good news. It's still there, waiting for you. The question is, how do you begin to uncover it when hiding behind masks feels as natural as breathing? Let's start small, because that's where change always begins. First, let's face the reality. Breaking those habits isn't easy. By now, self-editing happens automatically. You don't even realize when you're doing it. Picture this. You're at a party, someone makes a joke that you don't find funny, and your reaction is so ingrained that the fake laugh slips out before you even process it. Moments like this are everywhere. They seem insignificant, but pay attention to how often they happen. When was the last time you gave an honest no instead of a polite, reluctant yes? Think about the last time someone asked your opinion on something, and instead of saying, I don't know enough about that, you made up a confident response just to avoid looking unprepared. These little edits add up, but they also hold the key to change. The simplest and maybe scariest way to reclaim authenticity is by starting with honesty, with yourself, with others, with the small, ordinary interactions that fill your day. It sounds straightforward, right? But it's like stretching a muscle you haven't used in years. It'll feel stiff and awkward at first. Here's an example. The next time someone invites you to something you really don't want to do, pause. Instead of the automatic, sure, try saying, thanks, but I'm gonna sit this one out. Notice how it feels in that moment, uncomfortable, liberating, both. These micro moments of honesty build over time. The more you practice them, the easier they get. Another simple but powerful shift: learn to embrace, I don't know. We live in a world where admitting uncertainty feels like failure, but real confidence comes from acknowledging you don't have all the answers and being okay with it. The next time a coworker asks for your opinion on a topic you're unfamiliar with, resist the urge to bluff your way through. Try saying, I'm not sure about that. What do you think? It might feel vulnerable at first, but it's a step toward being real instead of performing. One of the most helpful tools in this journey is mindfulness. And no, that doesn't mean you need to meditate on a mountaintop or burn incense in your living room. Mindfulness is simply about noticing. Pay attention to when you're slipping on a mask, when you're exaggerating a laugh, tailoring your opinion, or smoothing out an answer to make it more acceptable. This isn't about judging yourself for doing it, it's about catching the moment. When you start noticing those instinctive edits, you create space to make a different choice, maybe even one that feels more aligned with who you are. So why do this? What's the payoff? Studies show that living authentically doesn't just improve your mental health, it strengthens your relationships too. When you strip away the performance, you make room for deeper, more genuine connections. People don't just see you, they trust you. Authenticity also reduces emotional exhaustion. It takes effort to maintain a facade. Letting it drop can feel like exhaling after holding your breath all day. But beyond the personal perks, there's something larger here. When we make the choice to be more authentic, even in small ways, we create ripple effects. Think about it. When someone is real with you, doesn't it encourage you to do the same? Imagine if those ripples spread, a chain reaction of less edited, more genuine interactions. It's not just about you taking off your mask, it's about making it safer for others to do the same. Here's what it all comes down to. Authenticity isn't a box you check, it's a practice. It's a series of small choices you make every single day. It's uncomfortable at first and messy and sometimes awkward. But with each unfiltered laugh, each I don't know, each honest no, you come closer to reclaiming the version of you that's always been there. So, what's one small way you can start today? Authenticity isn't about being perfect or fearless. It's about being honest, especially when it's uncomfortable. It's showing up as yourself, flaws and all, instead of bending to fit someone else's version of what's right. So here's the challenge. What's one small way you can practice being real today? Maybe it's saying, I don't know, or letting yourself admit a truth you've been holding back. Do it. Say it. Notice how it feels. The masks we wear might feel like protection, but they're not who we are. Isn't it time to unmask yourself and meet the person you've been all along?